You were clearly entrusted with the important task by your future mother-in-law to break up a couple. But then you discover that you are the couple to be broken up. She is even determined to break up you and her son. Simply because you are the culprit behind your boyfriend's declining grades. And you still had to nod repeatedly in front of her, assuring her, we absolutely must break up. But then he turned around and pinned you against the door, kissing you until you couldn't breathe. You cruelly suggested a temporary breakup until he finished his college entrance exams. But he misunderstood, thinking you had already changed your mind, and flew into a rage. Even the phone call another boy answered when you were sick became evidence. This secret relationship not only had to be hidden from both sets of parents, but also required first clearing up her own boyfriend's melodramatic misunderstanding. My childhood friend's mother suspected he was in an early relationship. She asked me to break them up. I looked at my future mother-in-law, unable to speak. I only heard her roar. No matter who it is, they must break up. Anyone who dares to jeopardize my son's future, I'll never let them off the hook. My heart trembled, and I nodded repeatedly. Break up. Definitely break up. I understood Aunt Smith's feelings. On the day of the college entrance exam last year, she had a sudden heart attack, and Jason Smith, who was expected to be the top student in the province, missed the exam. This allowed me to take advantage and get into Q University with the highest score in the province. Retaking the exam affects one's mindset. And although it wouldn't be difficult for him to get into Q University with his ability, the major Jason wanted to apply for had very high score requirements. So Aunt Smith was extremely anxious about Jason's academic performance. Jason and I had originally decided to go public with our relationship after the college entrance exam. To avoid making Aunt Smith overthink things, we decided to continue our secret relationship until after his exam. This semester's final exam, Jason dropped from first in his grade to third, which worried Aunt Smith greatly. When I returned home for winter break, before I even entered the house, Aunt Smith pulled me aside to a secluded spot. She showed me Jason's report card. I comforted her, saying, "It's probably just a fluke, Aunt Smith. No need to worry. If it were just a fluke, I wouldn't be worried. Several times at night, I've heard him secretly chatting on the phone with a girl, calling each other baby this and baby that. I listened at the door, and that girl's voice sounds especially like yours." A thin layer of sweat instantly broke out on my back. Feeling guilty, I quickly lowered my head to avoid her gaze, trying my best to cover up. It's probably just normal classmate chat. Impossible! Aunt Smith's tone was decisive, making my heart leap into my throat. Would normal classmates say things like, "I miss you," kisses and hugs? I'm sure this brat is in an early relationship, but I have no proof. Belle, please help Auntie persuade him. No matter what it takes, you must make them break up. I looked at my future mother-in-law, unable to speak. Then came another roar. No matter who it is, they must break up with him. Anyone who dares to jeopardize my son's future, I'll never let them off the hook. My heart trembled, and I nodded repeatedly in fear. Break up. We must break up. I immediately put down my suitcase and dashed upstairs to Jason's room. Before my raised hand could even fall, the door opened automatically. I was pulled inside. Without a word, Jason pinned me against the door. Overwhelming kisses rained down. I couldn't break free, couldn't escape. He held the back of my head with one hand and gripped my waist with the other. The kisses were urgent and fierce. Until my legs went weak, I couldn't stand, and my clothes were soaked. Thinking of what Aunt Smith had just said, I pushed him away. I firmly resisted his attempts to continue kissing me. Aunt Smith said you're dating too young and told me to persuade you to break up. Is it possible your mum already knows about us and was deliberately hinting at me just now? Will she tell my parents, and they'll team up to break us apart? Then the two families would become enemies. Finally, we'd move away and never see each other again. The more I thought about it, the more terrifying it became. It's over. What should we do now? Jason didn't hear a word I was saying, only stared at my lips, his Adam's apple bobbing. Haven't kissed enough. Want more. He was about to pry my hand open, and his other hand started to get restless. I remembered we were at his house, and Aunt Smith was downstairs. I pulled away, whether Aunt Smith noticed or not. At this moment, Jason's future was the most important thing. No one could affect him, not even me. I immediately made an important decision. Jason, let's break up. Hearing this, his eyes instantly cleared, filled with disbelief and anger. Isabel, say that again, I softly explained. Just break up for half a year. We can get back together after your college entrance exam. He got even angrier, turning his head away from me. I don't agree. And it's impossible. If it's because of a few words from my mom, then I'll go confess to her right now. Jason was stubborn and had a bad temper, and I knew he would do it. I had no choice but to step forward, hug his waist, and patiently coax him. Be good. I don't want this either. But I really have affected you. Otherwise, how could your final exam score drop to 3rd place? Jason lowered his eyes and glared at me, speaking coldly. Have you wanted to break up with me for a long time? My mind went blank for a moment. What did he mean I'd wanted to break up with him for a long time? He became agitated. Then why did you lie? Lie? My mind raced. I immediately realized which day he was referring to, because it was the only time. That evening, I was rushed to the emergency room by my roommate due to a sudden high fever. My consciousness was hazy, and I was in a deep sleep. It was already 7 in the morning when I woke up after the fever broke, as expected. My phone was full of WeChat messages and missed calls from Jason. Knowing he had final exams and not wanting him to worry, I quickly called him back. I lied, saying I had fallen asleep and accidentally put my phone on silent, so I didn't hear it. At the time, he just said, "Oh," and hung up without another word. He never brought it up again. Now that he asked, I confessed the whole truth. But he was still angry, growing angrier. His gaze turned fierce. Isabel, we promised each other to always be honest with each other. I also said you have the freedom to choose. If one day you find you don't like me as much, or you meet someone who makes your heart race more, just tell me, and I'll set you free. But you can't lie to me, keeping me in the dark like a fool. The more he spoke, the more agitated he became. The more I listened, the more confused I got. Was it really that serious? I admit I was wrong, but it was just a white lie. I haven't changed my mind, and I don't dislike you. I admit I shouldn't have lied, but you don't have to be so fierce. This was the first time Jason had ever spoken to me so harshly since he was a child, so fierce. A wave of nameless grievance welled up in my heart. Tears flowed uncontrollably. I turned away, not wanting to deal with him. Just then, there was a knock at the door. Aunt Smith pushed open the door and saw the scene, her gaze sweeping over both of us. Seeing my tear-filled eyes and red eyelids, and remembering the purpose of my visit, she immediately grabbed Jason's ear in anger. Bella's doing this for your own good. Why are you being so fierce? What have I taught you since you were little? Don't bully girls. Don't make girls cry because of you. Apologize to Belle right now. I turned around and glared at him angrily. No need. As Chinese New Year's Eve approached, every household was busy visiting relatives and exchanging gifts. Afterwards, I followed my parents, taking my grandparents and maternal grandparents to Sanya to celebrate the spring festival. And I never spoke to Jason again. On New Year's Eve, the family gathered around the TV, laughing and chatting. I huddled in a corner of the sofa, distracted and unhappy. Not even a pile of thick, heavy red envelopes could comfort me. Every year at this time, Jason would video call me, complaining about becoming the public enemy of all the relatives' children because of his excellent grades. He was also surrounded by a bunch of kids asking a million questions. In the end, he could only hide in his room, feeling wronged and asking me for comfort. We would talk about interesting things that happened during the new year, or complain about the spring festival gala, or sometimes just say nothing and quietly look at each other across the screen. I felt like time flew by so fast. A whole night passed after only a few words. Yet, I also felt like time was moving too slowly, wondering why it wasn't the 4th day of the new year yet. But now, the person whose contact name is My Good Doggy is lying silently in my WeChat contact list. That feeling of grievance inexplicably surged up again. What's wrong? He hasn't come to coax me for so long. He says he misses me every day. Is this how he misses me? If he's so capable, he should ignore me forever. My grievance turned into anger. I angrily threw my phone aside and went out to watch fireworks. The New Year's exact hour was the final deadline for me to apologize to him. So many blessings, yet the pinned one remained silent. I decisively blocked him. One must have an attitude. Then I turned off my phone and went to sleep. On the 3rd night of the new year, my parents and I returned home because we were having a New Year's dinner with Jason's family on the 4th, which has always been a tradition for both families. As soon as I entered the door, I received huge red envelopes from Aunt Smith and Uncle Smith. Naturally, Jason also received them from my parents. I pretended not to see him, sweetly flattering the elders nearby. He ignored me, and I ignored him. Let's see who can hold out longer. The adults chatted animatedly, discussing today's menu. I was playing with the cat nearby. Jason walked up behind me, tugged at the hem of my shirt, and then slipped his red envelope into my hand. As always, one must strive to be strong, and when angry, maintain composure. Who cares? I said, then ran to the kitchen to help, not giving him a chance to bother me. Jason sat on the sofa, and several times when I secretly glanced at him, he caught me red-handed. During dinner, Aunt Smith pointed to one of the dishes and said, "It looks, smells, and tastes wonderful, even better than what they make at restaurants. Our Belle is truly smart, well-behaved, and virtuous. Whoever marries Belle will be blessed for 3 lifetimes." I instinctively looked up at a certain someone sitting opposite me and said proudly, "Of course." This made everyone laugh. My mum suddenly thought of something and asked me, "Belle, are you not dating anymore? Since the holidays started, you've been glued to your phone, checking it every minute, and looking all sulky. Did you argue with your boyfriend?" Oh my God. Mom, you really are my mum. A certain someone must be laughing hysterically inside. I buried my head in my food, not daring to look up. Before I could deny or explain, Jason nudged my leg under the table. "Don't be mad. I'll definitely beat him up for you later to let off steam." I glared at him and retorted, "No need. We've already broken up." My dad was beside me, giving me a thumbs up. Good riddance. If he dares to make my daughter angry, then kick him out. This time, someone buried his head in his food, not daring to look up. After dinner, the 4 adults gathered to play cards. To avoid him, I made an excuse that I was tired and went home to sleep. I took a pleasant bath. Just as I was about to blow dry my hair, I heard a movement behind me. I turned around and saw Jason, with his long legs, flipping over and jumping in. This was the 3rd floor. Falling down would mean death or severe injury. And it was snowing outside, cold and slippery. I wanted to ask him if he had a death wish. As soon as I opened my mouth, my words were completely blocked in my throat. Jason held the back of my head with one hand and wrapped the other around my waist. I was forced to tilt my head back with the force. He took the opportunity to pry open my mouth and hook his tongue with mine, cunning and domineering. In a few breaths, he kissed me until I was disoriented and my brain was deprived of oxygen. As soon as I touched his soft lips, my heart softened too. In fact, it had softened long ago, but now it was completely mush. My legs were too weak to stand. Jason picked me up and pressed me against the wall. His gaze was burning and sincere. "I was wrong that day. I shouldn't have been mean to you. I'm stubborn. Once I set my heart on someone, there's no room for anyone else. That day I said, if you fall for someone else, just tell me, and I'll let you go. I regret it. I've thought a lot during this time, and I've thought very clearly. Isabel, I love you. Even if you fall for someone else, even if you're too timing, I won't let go. It's my fault for not being good enough, for not being by your side. So it's not your fault if you like someone else. I just beg you to give me a chance. Wait for me for another 6 months, and I promise I'll get into Q University, okay?" He rattled on, and I was completely confused. "What are you talking about? What? Falling for someone else? Too timing?" Jason then explained the whole story of what happened that day, and only then did I understand the grievance in his heart. My anger immediately deflated. It was all a misunderstanding. After waking up that day, my roommate told me Tony had just left. He had found out about my illness from somewhere and had rushed to the hospital, busying himself all night. I knew his intentions. Tony and I attended the same university, but were in different departments, both members of the photography club. Not long after school started, he confessed his feelings to me. I clearly told him at the time that I had a boyfriend. So, after I recovered, I was afraid he would misunderstand and didn't want to owe him a favor. I specifically invited my roommate to dinner with him to express my gratitude, but I didn't expect him to be so manipulative. It really made me furious. After clearing up the misunderstanding and thinking about all the gibberish Jason had just said, I cupped his face and pecked him lightly on the corner of his mouth. "You silly dog! From now on, if you have anything, just ask me directly. Don't put on a tragic drama in your heart all by yourself. I, Isabel, have always been clear-cut in my feelings, loving and hating distinctly. My heart is narrow, only big enough to hold one person. Understand?" He nodded. I ruffled his fluffy hair. Good boy. Seeing my hair was wet, Jason put me down and picked up the hairdryer to dry my hair. But, as he was drying, his hands started to wander. He buried his head in my neck and shoulder, rubbing against me, his hair tickling me. One dodged, one chased, and somehow we ended up rolling onto the bed. I was pinned beneath him, something pressing against my abdomen. Outside, snow fell heavily. Inside, it was so quiet, you could hear a pin drop. Only the increasingly urgent and heavy breaths, and two hearts, thumping wildly against each other through our chests. We kissed passionately, the air hot and dry, stimulated by some chemical reaction. I felt like I was drowning. At the last moment, I still managed to push him away. I'm not ready yet. Let's wait until after your exams. Jason's pupils were unfocused, veins throbbing on his forehead, and the mylar on his arms were prominent. His voice was hoarse. I think I can't stop, sweetie. Will you help me? I blushed and bit my lower lip. The heavy breathing in the bathroom continued for a long time, and snowflakes danced freely outside the window. I snuggled in his arms, my small hands mischievously exploring his chest and abs. The result was that I helped him again and again, until I was so tired that I fell asleep in his arms. The next day, just before dawn, Jason was woken up by me and reluctantly driven out of our cozy haven. Sneakily, he returned the way he came. Since he was in his final year of high school, Jason's school started on the 5th day of the Lunar New Year. Fearing he would be distracted, I also returned to school early. Although we resolved our misunderstanding and reconciled, I still stuck to my guns and broke up with him. No more meetings, no more contact until after the college entrance exam. The closer we got to victory, the less we could let our guard down. To motivate him, I made a harsh statement. If you can't be the top student in the province, we'll never get back together. After a month spent at the library, my roommates finally started trickling back. I told them what had happened. One by one, they scoffed at Tony. I can't believe he's that kind of person. Such a manipulative green tea. A very introverted roommate timidly spoke up. Tony and I are from the same place. I think I saw him with another girl during the holidays. What? Are you sure you didn't see wrong? Doesn't Tony like our Belle? Confirmed scumbag. He's really an embarrassment to our Q university. It seems good grades don't mean good character. I showed them the WeChat message Tony sent me on New Year's Eve. Belle, Happy New Year. In the new year, I still miss you very much. No matter when, as long as you turn around, you'll see me. I'll keep waiting. This disgusted my roommates. No, I'm going to throw up. How can he be so thick-skinned? How can he send you flirtatious messages while hugging someone else? Girls, from now on, you must keep your eyes peeled when looking for a boyfriend. To avoid any interaction with him, I applied to withdraw from the club. After Tony found out he was blocked, he came to my dorm building to look for me. My roommates also ignored him, giving him the cold shoulder. After 3 times, it had seriously affected my life. This dragging on isn't working, so I decided to go see him. Tony ran towards me, his eyes full of anticipation. Belle, I heard they said you left the group, and you blocked me on WeChat again. I think there might be some misunderstanding between us. Can you tell me why? He's really good at acting, portraying that innocent, uneasy feeling perfectly. If I didn't know the truth, I really wouldn't be able to tell. I sneered. No misunderstanding. You know what you've done yourself. His expression paused slightly, probably realizing he couldn't hide it anymore. Belle, no matter what, you know my feelings for you. I really like you. You said you have a boyfriend, but he never comes to see you, which means he doesn't care about you at all. This kind of boyfriend doesn't deserve someone as good as you. And I, even though you rejected me, still can't let you go. Belle, please give me a chance. Okay? Then he took a step forward, trying to hold my hand. I dodged perfectly. Don't touch me. I have trypophobia. I can't get close to people with too many ulterior motives. Belle, what do you mean by that? You're hurting my feelings. I stopped beating around the bush and decided to get straight to the point. That day you privately answered my boyfriend's call. Why did you tell me about it afterwards? And why did I tell him I was asleep? Such an ambiguous statement. I raised my hand in a stopping gesture. No need to explain. I'm too lazy to listen. You're just a manipulative scumbag, deliberately making him misunderstand and trying to drive a wedge between us. But I'm sorry. My boyfriend and I are childhood sweethearts, and our relationship isn't something you can shake with a casual remark. So please stay as far away from me as possible from now on, and don't bother me again. I spoke firmly, my voice strong and clear. People came and went around us. Tony was publicly rejected, losing face, and couldn't be bothered to keep up the act. He scoffed at me. Isabel, who do you think you are? So what if you're the campus belle? I'm the recognized campus heartthrob. How many girls are eager to throw themselves at me? I don't need you. His words were quite harsh, truly tasteless. I quickly retorted. You rotten cucumber. You scumbag. You resort to insults when you can't get what you want. How did a scumbag like you get into Q University? 10 years of hard study, and you've read all your books into a dog's belly. You're truly an embarrassment to Q University. As soon as I finished speaking, a round of applause and cheers erupted around us. Tony glared at me and left resentfully. I thought of something, took out my phone, and changed my WeChat signature. This flower has an owner. My boyfriend is the most handsome in the universe. Please do not disturb. I also synchronized it to my moments, visible to everyone. As expected, the next second, my parents' calls came in. My mum was yelling for photos on the phone. My dad, risking a beating, snatched the phone. Honey, Dad isn't against you dating, but you're too young and too naive. Men are no good, except for me. Of course, your dad is an exception. Don't get carried away, and don't be impulsive. Make sure to protect yourself. When you come home for the holidays, bring that scoundrel back for me to scrutinize. A sudden image popped into my head of my dad's expression after he found out Jason's identity. He'd definitely be shocked, like he'd been guarding against a thief everywhere, only to find the thief right under his nose. Just thinking about it makes me laugh. I can't wait. One day, not long after, I unexpectedly ran into Tony. He was holding Jessica, the belle of the English department. Jessica was giggling uncontrollably at his smooth talk. I ignored them and kept walking, but he saw me and stopped me. Isabel, why are you hiding? Are you feeling a bit uncomfortable, a little sour? I opened my mouth, then decided it wasn't worth it. A complete waste of breath. But he misunderstood and continued to taunt me. It's been so long, and I haven't even seen a ghost of your boyfriend. You haven't been dumped by him already, have you? Are you regretting it now? I told you long ago. Your boyfriend never really cared about you. Now you must be regretting it terribly. After saying that, he deliberately kissed Jessica in his arms as if to sicken me. It's too late to regret now. He used me as a comparison to highlight his deep affection and Jessica's good fortune. It was truly disgusting. I didn't care at all and said to Jessica, who was blinded by love, just a friendly reminder. Getting bitten by a dog can give you rabies. I advise you to go to the hospital for a checkup quickly. Don't let some rotten cucumber defile you. I'd said enough. That's all I could do to help. I turned around gracefully and walked away, tossing my hair. Tony cursed behind me. Isabel, I'd like to see where you're going to conjure up a super handsome cosmic boyfriend from. The passage of time is different for everyone. Another summer. June 7th was Jason's 19th birthday. Due to the college entrance exam, celebrations had to be postponed. Those days, I was distracted and couldn't sleep at night. I silently prayed in my heart. My roommate laughed at me. I'd think you were taking the college entrance exam if I didn't know better. I finally endured until the last subject ended, and I could finally hear his voice. I called several times, but Jason's phone didn't go through. He must have been too tired, turned off his phone, and gone to sleep to avoid being disturbed. Let him rest well first. Once he's rested, he'll call me back when he sees the missed calls. I told myself this, but I was still incredibly anxious. My body was in Cow's camp, but my heart was in Han, staring blankly at my textbook in the library. My desire to see him had reached its peak. I couldn't wait another moment. I pulled out my phone and checked for flights. The earliest flight wasn't until tomorrow morning. Without a moment's hesitation, I booked it immediately. On my way back to the dorm from the library, Jason finally called me back. I spoke first. How did you do on the exam? Did you perform well? His tone was listless, a bit disappointed. We haven't seen each other in so long, and the first thing you say isn't that you miss me. Of course I miss you, and it's because I miss you that I care more about your grades. He sounded a bit down on the other end of the phone. Belle, if I told you I didn't do well on the exam, would you really not want me anymore? Of course not. At the same time, my heart sank. He couldn't have really done poorly, could he? But it doesn't matter. I had already prepared for the worst. If Jason really underperformed and ended up at a different school, being in the same city would be fine. And even if it were long distance, it couldn't be worse than this past year, when we wanted to see each other. We could always take a plane or high-speed train. After enduring these few years, we could still try to get into the same graduate school. I was committed to him. I would do anything, and I would wait as long as it took. I stopped walking and said very seriously, "Jason, no matter how you did on the exam, I will get back together with you, because in my heart, we never broke up, and we never could. To let you focus on your exams, I forced myself not to see you. I thought 6 months would pass in the blink of an eye, but once I actually did it, I realized I couldn't do it at all. I miss you so much. So much. I can't sleep, and I want to cry every time I think of you. I want to be with you every day. So even if you don't become the top scholar, or even get into Q University, we won't break up. Even with a long-distance relationship, I have faith in our love. Later, we can apply for graduate school at the same university. And if that still doesn't work, once we're married, that day will come." I blurted out a lot of words. The other end of the phone remained silent. After a while, his voice came through. "Isabel, I love you." It was choked with emotion. "Look behind you." In that instant, I realized something and spun around. My big dog was standing not far away, arms open towards me. Without a moment's hesitation, I ran and threw myself into his embrace. My roommates all gave knowing smiles and discreetly walked away, stealing glances as they went. Jason's eyes crinkled, a mischievous smile on his face. Did someone just say they wanted to marry me? Isabel, do you like me that much? Do you want to marry me that much? I turned my head, pouting. Jason, don't be so conceited. He laughed and turned my puffed-up face, planting a delicate and gentle kiss, without any color. What a load of nonsense about no color. That night, I was lured to a hotel by a certain mischievous person. The hotel had been booked long in advance. The top-floor presidential suite. Large floor-to-ceiling windows overlooked the entire city's night view. The room was covered everywhere with rose petals and candles. On the bed, on the dining table, in the bathroom, I stood with my hands on my hips, proud and defiant. Jason, you're just a bad dog. He stepped forward, scooped me up in his arms, and smirked mischievously, as if he'd gotten his way. But how do I feel like you really like it, and even crave me to be a little worse? A series of unspeakable images flashed through my mind. My face flushed crimson, all the way to behind my ears, burning hot. This time, there should be no reason to refuse me, right? I could no longer hold back, my body burning like fire. I wrapped my arms around his neck and initiated a kiss. Given permission, someone was like a lit fuse, fierce, passionate, again and again. On the bed, on the dining table, in the bathroom, and in front of the floor-to-ceiling window. Countless nights of longing, to be made up for with all our might in a short time. When I woke up, it was already the next evening. I snuggled into Jason's arms, and we simultaneously pressed the publish button on our moments. Our fingers intertwined, his big hand holding my small one, visible to everyone. Because our faces weren't shown, everyone was gossiping in the comments about who the other person was. But this couldn't fool our mutual friends. That night, in 2 adjacent villas, a simultaneous burst of screams and explosions erupted. Immediately after, our phones were predictably bombarded. 6 people started a video call in the Loving Neighbors group. Son, tell Mom, is this real? Mom isn't dreaming. Smith, pinch me quickly. It hurts. Can you be gentler? Do you want to pinch me to death? Belle, Uncle congratulates you two. It's this boy's good fortune to be your boyfriend. Aunt Smith and Uncle Smith were beaming, as if a wonderful pie had fallen from the sky. The other 2 looked a bit conflicted. My mum was fine, just a little reluctant to see her daughter get married. Only my dad looked displeased. Satisfied, but unwilling, he put on airs, playing the role of the father-in-law. Boy, although I watched you grow up, that doesn't mean I'll easily hand my daughter over to you. If you dare to treat her badly, I'll skin you alive. Aunt Smith and Uncle Smith quickly tried to comfort him. Jack, it's not that serious. You can rest assured, we watched Belle grow up, and we've long considered her our own daughter. Don't worry. I absolutely won't let that brat Jason bully Belle in the slightest. Don't just talk the talk, Smith. Let's go tomorrow and transfer the most valuable villa on the hillside to Belle. Yes, yes. Let's go tomorrow and buy them an even better one as a wedding home. Jack, whatever requests you two have, just say them. Don't be shy. Aunt Smith changed the group name Loving Neighbors to Loving Family. Jason and I walked hand in hand under the streetlights at night. Listening to them ramble on, we exchanged a smile. Unable to interject, I just hung up. The night breeze was gentle, but it couldn't compare to the love in each other's eyes. I really want to keep holding his hand and walk on like this forever. It will happen. We spent the entire summer inseparable. Our parents were all very happy. They even changed how they addressed each other to in-laws, except for my dad, who was still holding his ground, making a final struggle. Jason was under immense pressure because of this. The two of them talked for a long time in the room, hidden from me, and I don't know what they discussed. But in the end, Comrade Jack walked out, smiling. He patted Jason's shoulder, nodded, and left. It was another back-to-school season. Tony was dumped. After I warned Jessica, a small seed was planted in her mind. She caught Tony flirting with several girls at once, and immediately confronted him, slapping him several times in public. She even posted the evidence online to warn everyone about this scumbag. When I found out, I gave her a thumbs up on the spot. I never expected Jessica, who seemed so soft and gentle, like a little rabbit, to be so fierce when she lost her temper. Tony's reputation at school was ruined. No girl wanted anything to do with him, but he didn't change his ways. He used his senior status to welcome new students, his eyes scanning the group of new female students. After catching my disdainful gaze, he forced a sneer at me to save face. A commotion broke out at the school gate, and then Jason walked into Q University's campus, carrying a suitcase. His appearance immediately attracted a lot of attention and gasps of admiration. There was a lot of gawking and secret photography. Some senior girls even understood the principle that good food can't wait, and decided to act first, going up to ask for his WeChat. Afraid that if they waited too long, he would be snatched up by someone else, they returned empty-handed. My classmates and I were busy directing new students, handing out handbooks, and answering questions. Jason walked straight towards me, amidst all the gazes. "Senior, could you please tell me how to get to the dorms, and could you take me there?" I put on a serious face and pretended to cooperate with him. "Okay, follow me." I was in front. He was behind. But after only a few steps, he tightly held my hand from behind. Our fingers intertwined. Under the camphor trees, the wind was gentle. It was the perfect time in our lives, and we were perfect together.